Welcome back. In this demonstration we are going to be working on our quilling homework. You'll have this sheet that you'll take home with you and you should be working on it right now. The first part of the directions is to go to the video labeled right here. Please watch it. This is what you're doing right now. Here's a QR code so you can get it on your mobile device, and here is a link that you could type into a computer old school style and find as well. Okay, first we're going to read through the directions and look at a few good examples to see what we should be doing. Okay, here is an artwork designed by an artist named Nancy. She did a fantastic job designing a letter, creating her border, and creating some other decorative elements. Here is an artwork designed by another artist named Sarah. She's also done a fantastic job. She has her cat design in the middle, her border, and her quilling shapes in there. And here is my design that I will create in this video. Okay, and you can kind of see how I've created the border and I've created my main design. So let's get back to the directions. Direction number 1, make sure you create a border first. Okay, this is the border, the area that goes around the picture, kind of like the frame of whatever will be in the middle. We will do that first when we get to our demonstration. Then draw your letter or design like the ones we discussed in class, and find something on your own. Okay, make sure your design fills the paper side to side, top to bottom. So I've got this leaf going side to side, and I've got the stem from top and the leaves up here from the bottom to the top. Likewise, Nancy did a great job filling her design in this whole page, and Sarah has also done a great job filling her design in this whole page. A lot of kids will take their design and make some little teeny thing right here in the middle and then have a ton of empty space. We do not want a bunch of empty space. Okay? Next, make sure your design evenly fills the paper. Make sure your design can be either horizontal or vertical. So as my design here is horizontal, it's meant to go this way, the long way. Nancy and Sarah both designed theirs vertically so that it would be taller rather than the horizontal way. Sarah's is also vertically designed. Okay, so taking that into account, you can do whatever you feel works best for your design. Take liberty with your designing, make it interesting, make it beautiful, make it what you want it to look like. Your design should be decorative. Add flourishes, swirls, twists, exploit the element of line, exploit the element of shape. In all of these you can see that I've used large shapes here for my design, and then I've filled them in with the swirly lines. Likewise, Nancy did a great job exploiting line to outline this N, and she's added extra delicate flourishes of these like little flower pieces, and her border looks great. Likewise, Sarah here has exploited the quilling shapes inside the eyes and really made use of line in creating the outline of her cat. Great work by both of those artists. Okay, once your design is complete, divide up your design into smaller shapes that represent how your quilling shapes will fill the overall design. Think of repetition and think about pattern. Pattern and repetition are two very important parts of this assignment. After you your design is divided up, use the spiral lines to mimic the paper quilling so that you can plan ahead for what you are going to create. The whole point of this assignment is the whole point of doing your homework is to plan ahead, so that when Nancy gets hers drawn out, she will know how to add these extra flourishes in. She will know that she wants these quilling shapes here and what she wants on the border. Likewise, with Sarah's picture, I think Sarah really did a great job of exploiting the quilling lines here in the eyes, making this curved shape and then filling that in with the quilling. Likewise in the ears and in the tail, she's got some cool shapes. So exploit the quilling idea and fill those shapes in. Okay, so getting started for the actual example. You can see how this fills the page, how I've got my quilling shapes on the border, and I'm just going to do a quick example of what you should do for your homework. So first things first, you don't need to put your name on this side. The best place to put your name is on this side because this is the one I will be looking at. So please write your name clearly. My name is Mr. Lundgren, so I'll write my name there. and then write your section. Maybe this is 6A, 6B, I don't know. Fill in whatever is appropriate for your section of art. Then we're going to create our border first. Your border does not have to be straight like mine, but you should have a border. If you remember, Nancy's border was curved. So you can create a curved border if you'd like, but I'm just going to create one that is straight. I'm going to make my border 3/4 of an inch wide. You can make yours however wide you'd like. I'm going to just line up my ruler so that it's parallel with the edge here and draw my 3/4 mark. Alright, I'm going to measure my edge here, draw 3/4 mark, and then make sure my ruler is parallel with that bottom line. Alright, measure this edge, 3/4. Make sure it's parallel. Now, I'm making this nice and parallel and drawing my lines from edge to edge. Like I said, you can do it however suits your artwork. If you want to have your border wavy and wiggly, that's fine. If you want to have your border diagonal or zigzag lines, that's fine too. Whatever you feel suits your artwork. Now I've got my border in here. Alright, now the design I'll show you in class that looks similar to this is a lily pad. Here you can see it in the dark Sharpie, and then a lotus flower blooming here, a lotus flower there, and a flower there. So I'm going to just start with my lily pad. Okay, I want my lily pad to go from corner to corner like that. So that's going to be my lily pad shape. It eventually will be green. Alright, and then I want my main lotus flower here. I looked up lots of pictures of lotus flowers and kind of saw that the main petals of the flower kind of splay out from side to side. There's of course many designs out there for lotus flowers. There's my other one and another one. Now the trick of this is I don't want it to be symmetrical. I want it to be a little bit asymmetrical. So I'm going to put one here, and then I'm going to do some little petals in here, which will force me to exploit some paper quilling pinches as we go through. Okay, so there's my lotus flower. I'm going to put a stem off my lotus flower down here, and I'm going to make it fairly thick because I want that to be a more solid piece of my design. Now I'm going to put a little lotus blossom over here, and I want my main shape to kind of be a teardrop shape like this, but I'm going to break it down into a couple different shapes. I'm going to have like one shape here and one shape here and another shape in there. So those will be my little pieces for the blossom. And then I'm going to have one up here that's like just, whoops, it's just kind of starting to open up, and it's going to kind of be one blossom there, one blossom here, another blossom kind of in the middle that I actually want overlapped in front. So I'm going to go like that and erase the inside, and then a little blossom here, a blossom here, something like that. Okay, and then a stem down here, which is actually going to snake back and come out over here, and then the stem for my lily pad is going to come over here like that. Okay, so there's my basic design. It fills my space side to side, fills the space top to bottom. I have a border around the edge. Now I've completed all the pieces down to the end of number 3. I've exploited the element of line, exploited the element of shape. Now my design is complete. I'm going to divide up my design into smaller shapes to represent how I will fill it with quilling. Okay, so in here, for example, on this corner, I'm going to divide this in half and then take a spirally line in the shape of a triangle and make a quilling shape there, and continue with that same quilling idea here. Now I've done that here. I'm going to do the same thing here, and you'll get the idea. If you're at home and you're watching this, you could fast forward it just to kind of see my process in the sense of how to design the quilling so that it looks nice and you have a good clear idea of what you're going to do. The whole purpose of this homework is to show me that you have thought about what you're going to do, you've planned what you're going to do, so that when you come to class you're not kind of floundering without anything to do, and I can guide you a little better into how to make your design. Now here I've decided I was going to divide this up into thirds. I'm just eyeballing it. You could obviously measure it if you want. And then I wanted an open scroll swirl. So I'll fill that in. Okay? Now, I want you to fill this in so it looks nice, it looks neat, it's not sloppy, and again, I can see that you've clearly thought about your design and how you would like your design to look. You can always change it if in the moment you decide, you know, I really want my design to be this way or that way, and in class you can talk to me, and if you have a good example of what you want to do, or you can explain to me why your design needs to be changed, that is totally fine. Okay, that's part of art, is being creative in the moment, being spontaneous with what feels right at the moment. But another part of art is also planning and being thoughtful ahead of time what you're wanting to do and what the purpose of what you're making is. Okay, so there's my kind of side borders. I'm going to repeat the same at the top, but I'm going to turn my paper because it's much easier for me to do it this way. Okay, swirling the design yet again, and at this point I realized I did not divide this up. I wanted to have it into like fourths, about like that. Now when you get done with your design, you'll turn it in, I'll check it off, make sure that it's looking nice, and then we'll transfer this design to your final paper. The reason why I'm having you do it on this paper is because at the end I'm going to give you a nice piece of final paper which you'll have your name on and everything, and this will match the same size that you're working on right now, so that you can really just copy this paper that you've created here, the design that I've checked off. You can copy it and put it right onto your final picture. Alright, so that is why I want you to do a really high quality, thoughtful job ahead of time. So there's my border finished. Okay, now the next part is to start filling in my shapes here. So I'm going to start with my main leaf. Now this is the part where you need to exploit the idea of quilling in making these swirled shapes match what you've got. Now as far as planning ahead, this is the idea that you're planning ahead. Now you might have to switch, like this shape right here. I realize that this shape is way too big for one piece of paper of quilling, so I might take and like imaginarily divide this in half and then make a quilled shape like this, to split that in half. Then I might have another quilled shape out here that is the second half of that leaf. Okay, so you have to kind of plan ahead. This one obviously is going to be almost like a diamond shape. I'm going to have to kind of squish this into the existing area. Likewise, this one is going to be curved here and go up and around. So I'm going to have to exploit. Now, thinking ahead, you're going to be thinking, okay, well, how am I going to have to design these little teeny pieces of quilled paper so that they truly make the shape that I want, and I know that they're going to be long enough and the right shape. Now, one problem that you might run into is that after you get this done, it might all kind of start blending together. So if you want to at home, I think it would be a good idea for you to take some kind of a marker, maybe even a colored marker if you've got one, and outline your main shapes that were the original part of your design. So as you can see here now, I'm kind of taking this Sharpie and outlining my original shapes. That might help you later in determining where you need to copy your design. Okay. And that there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, it might be quite useful to you later on once you get started on the quilling of your design. So I'm just going to do that part just to demonstrate the swirl or the outlining, and I'm just going to finish this last leaf, and then we'll end the video, as I'm sure by now most of you are getting the idea of this. Now, your design, when you turn it in, must be completely finished, okay? Not half finished like I end the video. I'm only ending the video because you probably don't need to see all of that. Okay. Now these would be 3 little pieces of paper all kind of set on end. So you can see how I went about filling this shape in. Here's my other example, and eventually I will also fill this backspace in when I get to my quilling. I would like you to take the time to fill this backspace in so that you know what it is. You could even color the backspace so that you know which parts are which. So for this assignment, this homework assignment, finish your quilling project in the design form to be handed in to class in our next art session. And that's how to complete the concept behind your illuminated letter or your picture design for our quilling project.